Welcome to the Sengoku Jidai, but in Europa Universalis 4 1.35 Domination DLC, which buffed Japan significantly. With these new missions, any Japanese daimyo that unifies the nation can guide Japan towards hegemony over Asia. In 1444, Japan is on the brink of civil war. The Hosokawa and Yamana clans are poised to determine the next Ashikaga shogun, while daimyo throughout the land no longer obey, as they realize the reign of the old shogunate is over. Just like in Total War Shogun 2 and historically, the Oda are one of the strongest daimyos to select when unifying Japan. Their ideas are perfect for military conquest with morale of armies and infantry combat ability, all the land leader bonuses, goods produced, core creation costs and province war score costs, land fire damage, technology cost, and some manpower. Again, tons of lovely military ideas that will help the Oda dominate Asia and beyond. Starting in Owari, the Oda, although one province minor, are poised to show their strength to the rest of the Japanese daimyo, but before we do anything else, we must start by setting up the estates. We start off with 30% crown land, so we can go ahead and give out the monthly PowerPoint privileges for every estate, so that is religious state for the Kanushi, primacy of the Bushi, and lastly, land of commerce. And we go ahead and seize land for that 5% crown land. We're going to grant the additional privileges for each of the estates. So for the Kanushi, go ahead and get the oversights. Next thing we're going to grab is religious diplomats because we are of the Shinto faith and so are the rest of the Japanese daimyo, meaning that they will like us a little bit more and we get some diplomatic reputation. Lastly, we're going to get clerical education. This gives them a little bit of influence, but we get reform progress growth plus 10%. That's going to be very useful at the beginning of the game. Returning to the Bushi, go ahead and give the increased levy privilege. And the next privilege we're going to grant is Bushi officer rights. At the cost of a little bit of influence, we get the estate action to grant generalship. This gives us a general with 40 army tradition, but this army tradition does scale, and the more army tradition you have, the better generals you will receive. And we need a great general in order to win the Sengoku Jidai, so go ahead and get Bushi officer rights. And for the merchant guilds, go ahead and grab patronage of the arts for that yearly prestige and prestige bonus. We're going to take free enterprise. And lastly, we're going to get promote merchant guilds bookkeeping. This gives us an interest per annum decrease, state maintenance decrease, and reduced inflation cost. This will help us because during the Sengoku Jidai, we're going to take tons of loans and we need to repay them back as soon as possible. With all those privileges granted, we can go ahead and summon the diet and choose the agenda that best suits us. We're going to select the proposal of the Bushi. We just need Korea to have at least 50 opinion of us, which is rather easy. And upon completion, we get 15 loyalty for the Bushi, which we are going to spend some of their loyalty to gain generalship. Currently, it would cost 10 loyalty. They only have 35, so we want to keep it above 30. So that's why we're going to choose the proposal of the Bushi. The next thing we're going to do is set our rivals, and when playing in Japan, rivals are very important because we're going to employ the best strategy to unify Japan, which is getting as many show of strengths as possible. A show of strength gives us 100 of each of the power points, which means we can spawn the institution Renaissance in Owari, and that way we won't fall behind in tech to the Europeans. Now you could speed form Japan. In my opinion, that strategy is not as good. It's better to just slowly expand a little bit, get those show of strengths, and then rapidly expand towards the end to unify Japan like in the 1480s, maybe even later. You can get tons of show of strengths, and they're really great because we can get our first idea set unlocked rather early as well. So for our rivals, we're going to select the Imagawa because, of course, the Battle of Okayazama. Then we're going to select the Kitabatake, and we will select the Ishiki. With those rivals selected, now we can go into diplomacy here, and we have 2 free diplomats. What we're going to do immediately is get a royal marriage. This will help us keep high relations with the Ashikaga and will prevent them from ordering our daimyo to commit seppuku. With the other daimyo, don't get royal marriages because at some point we're going to have to fight all of them and that's just going to hurt your stability. With the opening diplomatic moves out of the way, I'm going to highlight a few of the changes that Japan receives with the Domination DLC. The first thing you'll notice is that the mission tree is still the same as the Oda. However, once we enact the decision to form Japan, we gain access to the new and improved mission tree. So we're going to prioritize taking that decision. And once we form Japan, you'll notice that we gain access to samurai infantry. That's right, Japan gets a new special unit for its culture group, the samurai. 5% improved discipline. Reinforced cost plus 50% will mitigate that. And then morale damage received minus 10%. We're going to get as many samurai as possible in order to help further the Oda ambition. Naturally, this makes sense that this is a special unit because the samurai played such a pivotal role in Japanese history. So again, I really love that Paradox added this special unit for Japan, and this is one of the main reasons why I have to play Japan and made this video. And already we can recruit 4 samurai infantry. We're not going to recruit any just yet. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to recruit some mercenaries and hire the Free Company, so that way we get some extra troops to help us in our first initial wars against the other daimyo around us. As I recruit the Free Company, it's important to note that Japan has been unified by lots of YouTubers in previous videos in the past, so I'm only going to show you the highlights and some of the things that I find insightful when unifying Japan. On the 11th of December, 1444, we're going to declare our first war against another daimyo. We are going to declare war against the Ishiki because we can get the humiliation rival, and they have no allies, so very weak and easy war to begin with to get our first show of strength. So go ahead and declare this war. And we got an heir to the throne, 340, very bad heir. I hope you guys get better RNG than me. All right, now let's go ahead and disinherit our heir. It's gonna cost us prestige, which really sucks, but we can get the prestige back, and we want a better heir, of course. A son finds his way home. All right, nice. We get an event that allows us to select an heir. We're going to get Ieyasu Oda. How interesting, you know, Tokugawa Ieyasu Oda. So 424 is pretty good. We're going to need the admin points and mill points, so let's go ahead and get Ieyasu Oda as an heir. How ironic, really. And the siege of Tongo is over, which means we have 100%, so we can go ahead and recall our diplomat 2 for peace, and we're going to get show strength. This gives us 100 of each monarch power, and we don't get any money, but we don't need any again. We want these monarch points. And now that we got the estate agenda completed, you can see that the Bushi have 53% loyalty, so we can go ahead and grant generalship. All right, let's pray for a good general here. And look at that, Katsunaga Ryuzoji. Oh my god, 5 shock, 4 maneuver, and a siege pip. Really great general. Again, I really love going for that estate decision. Now that our troops have returned to Owari, our next war is going to be against the Kitabatake. We're going to humiliate rival once again to get that show of strength. The Imagawa are going to join. It doesn't really matter though. And in fact, we're going to stack wipe the Kitabatake, who are in the province of Owari with us. So go ahead and declare the war. And already we're at battle, which is nice, and wiped. With the siege of Ise over, we're going to send our Free Company to siege down the rest of Soruga. And with that, we completed the siege of Soruga. So we're going to peace out the Imagawa first. Now the peace deal with the Imagawa, let's go ahead and get the war reparations, all their money. We can go ahead and make them cancel their treaty with the Wasugi and then end our rivalry with us to get some extra prestige. Could go for the humiliation, but I don't really think it's necessary here as we're going to get another show of strength against Ise, and we already have the age objective. So go ahead and piece this out. Now that we got our diplomat back, let's go ahead and piece out the Kitabatake as well. Of course, we're going to go for show strength. Gives us another 100 of each of the monarch powers. Continuing with the wars of the Sengoku Jidai, we're going to declare our war on Toki for the province of Mino. We'll go ahead and call in the Shiba, promise them land, but we're not going to give them anything, of course, so. And the siege of Mino is over, which means we no longer need a spy network there. And let's go ahead and get the peace deal. Of course, we're going to annex the province of Mino, and we're going to grab as much money as we can, 25 ducats. Alright, the next war will be against the Tokugawa. We're going to humiliate rival for another show of strength to get our third show of strength. Hatikiyama will be dragged in, that won't matter. Let's go ahead and declare the war. And there we go, stacked wipe the Hatikiyama. Let's go end the Tokugawa's chances of taking out the Imagawa. And actually we got a mission fulfilled, we get the Bushido code, gives us a little bit of discipline for 20 years from the old mission tree, still pretty nice to do. Extra discipline always helps. And we stacked wiped the Tokugawa as well, our first samurai regiment. And they got the red background, so that's how you know they're a special unit, and a samurai special unit at that. Now, of course, with the Tokugawa, we can once again sue for peace and get that third show of strength. With our troops in position, we can go ahead and declare the war against the Tsutsui. We're going to use the Sengoku CB. We'll call in Yamana because we have favors, and don't have to worry about the Ouchi. We'll piece them out separately. We're going to take the provinces of Ise and Yamato, so go ahead and declare the war. And the siege of Yamato is over, which means we can take the fight to the Ouchi now. Let's piece out the Ouchi. We'll go ahead and just do war reparations and just take all their money. We can piece out the Tsutsui. full annexation of all their territory, and take all their money. And with that, we've expanded the Oda domain. Let's go ahead and core these up. It's time to declare war on the Date for the 4th show of strength. The good thing is they're allied to the Hatekiyama, which is nice because with the Hatekiyama, we have a 11-year truce, but if we white peace them during this war, it will reset the truce to just 5 years. So let's go ahead and declare the war against the Date. We could advance in Diplotech, but we're going to invest the points in the development of Owari, so that way we can spawn Renaissance. So we'll go ahead and dev up Owari a few times. So it's important to focus on the base production and base manpower using Mill and Diplo, and saving the admin points for coring and of course getting our ideas. We're already 13% of the way to spawning Renaissance. We got a diplomat back, so we can go ahead and peace out the Hatekiyama. We're just going to go for white peace, that way the truce only lasts until 1459, so we can declare on them again. So let's go ahead and do this peace deal. A little bit of devastation in Owari, so we can go ahead and continue developing. So we can spawn Renaissance. We'll go ahead and spend some more Diplo points. There we go, the devastation's gone, and then we'll spend some mill points. We're at 36% of the way. We'll just go ahead and keep going until we get to 30 development, then we can expand infrastructure once again. And look at that, we're at 81%. We just need to get to 100 to spawn Renaissance, and that will help us immensely because we'll be able to embrace it and then not stay behind tech with the Europeans and remain ahead of tech against all the other Japanese daimyos. And now we can, of course, sue for peace and get that lovely 4th show of strength. 4 show of strengths, and it's only 1455. There's still a couple more we need to do. Go ahead and piece this out. And look at that, we got a lot more power points back from that, and so we can continue to improve Owari some more. So go ahead and spend some mill points. We'll do Diplo points. And there we have it, the Renaissance has appeared in Owari. And if we look in the institutions here, we can embrace it for only 24 ducats. Pretty easy, we'll just go ahead and take this loan. And now we can embrace the institution, and look at that. We're not that far behind in tech at all. In fact, we can improve our admin tech to admin tech 5. And just like that, we can go ahead and unlock our first idea group, and it's only 1455. This is why the show strengths are so powerful when playing in Japan, because not only do we stay on pace technologically with the Europeans, but we also unlock our first idea group relatively early. So let's go ahead and choose our first idea, and you'll notice that the Domination DLC introduced 3 new idea groups: Infrastructure, Court, and Mercenary. However, as the Oda, we're not going to select any of these new ideas right away, nor do we typically select an admin idea as our first idea. We could opt for exploration ideas, so that way we have the possibility of spawning in the institution of colonialism within Japan. However, as the Oda, you don't need to do that either, so we'll go ahead and go back and typically select a military idea as our first idea because we are the militaristic daimyo of Japan. But we're going to follow a very specific strategy, and that involves us selecting humanist ideas first. Why humanist? Well, every idea group has a pulse event associated with it that could trigger every 5 years. So what we're going to do is select humanist because their pulse event is an idea cost reduction that could trigger in 5 years. So we'll go ahead and select humanist as our idea for now, but then in 5 years, what we're going to do is select a military idea. And that military idea is going to be offensive ideas. Offensive ideas blends really well with the Oda ideas, where we get some more land leader bonuses. We also get the lovely 20% siege ability, and sieges help win wars a lot in the early portion of EU4. So we'll go ahead and select humanist ideas and then wait 5 years to see if we get that pulse event. So go ahead and select humanist ideas as our first idea group for now. It's also important not to spend any admin power on this. We just need to select the idea group to have our chance at the pulse event. And there we go, we got a humiliation of rival against the Ouchi. Let us declare the war. We'll invite the Yamana into the war, why not? And we'll do humiliation of rival, so that way we can get our 5th show of strength, and then we'll declare war on the Hatekiyama to expand a little bit more. So let's go ahead and get rid of the humanist ideas. We didn't get the pulse event. That's alright, it does happen. If you get the events, good for you, you got some blessed RNG. Let's go ahead and just select offensive ideas as our first idea group then. We could start selecting some ideas, but we're going to wait till we get to military tech 5. And now we can peace out with the Ouchi, sue for peace, and get that 5th show of strength. And let's peace them out. Let's go ahead and repay our loans, and that way we can complete this estate agenda here. And there we go, we got the estate agenda completed, and we're going to get some advisors now. What we'll do is grant the advisor privileges, and we'll go ahead and look at our advisors. We're going to grab the first advisor, which is the yearly inflation reduction, and very cheap advisor to get. And then for the next advisor, we're going to get the trade efficiency advisor. And the reason we're going for the trade efficiency is we have the chance of getting radical reforms. It's an event you can only get once per game, and it's really great to get it early on because it helps us stay ahead of tech and get lots of power points to use. And with that, we can go ahead and declare our war on the Hatsukigama. Of course, we're going to choose the Sengoku, and we're going to take some territory. So let's go ahead and declare this war. And then we'll just annex the Hatsukigama lands now. Take all of their money, of course, and there we go. No more Hatsukigama. Looks like our daimyo passed away, and now, of course, the leader of the Oda clan is Daimyo Ieyasu Oda. A son finds his way home. All right, here we go. So we have tell us about their diplomatic trickery, speak of their administrative innovations, or we get teach us their secret military tactics. And look at that, a 664. Wow, what an incredible heir. Motoyasu Oda. Lovely event. He got the trait Patron of the Arts, tech cost, and idea cost reductions. This heir is going to become the Shogun of Japan and going to help us scale really, really well. Amazing heir. Such good RNG. Here we go. We can select a rival. The Ouchi again. Very nice. Alright, so we have a rival. Perfect. So let's hope that our truce expires with them soon enough. We can go ahead and get Admin Tech 7 and Diplotech 7. We're going to go ahead of tech here. Admin Tech 7, we unlock our second idea group, and it's only 1474. We're going to select infrastructure ideas. It has a great policy with offensive for the Mobile Siege Engines Act that gives us some movement speed and artillery levels available versus forts. Additionally, the idea set itself has great ideas for playing tall, including the negative 10% development cost reduction, which will help us spawn in institutions. So we're going to select infrastructure ideas. And it looks like we can finally get the Imagawa as a rival. This is what I've been waiting for. We have a truce with the Imagawa, so this is nice. We'll get to 7 show of strength. So let's go ahead and declare this war on the Imagawa whenever we get the month tick. And there we go, we got the Imagawa as a rival. So let's go ahead and declare this war, and we can get our 6th show of strength and then get our 7th against the Ouchi. That's right, as soon as we finish this siege right here, we'll be able to, of course, there we go, we got the humiliation against the Ouchi, actually. Here we go. Let's go ahead and have the Yamana help us and declare this war simultaneously. 2 wars at the same time, not a big deal. We are technologically ahead of everyone, so perfectly fine. There we go. Siege of Uzen's over. Let's go ahead and peace out the Shiba. We're just going to do a white peace to reset the truce for 5 years. We can go ahead and peace out the Imagawa. So let's go ahead, sue for peace, get that show of strength, and there we go, that's 6 show of strengths. And now we'll continue our war against the Ouchi. And there we go, we got radical reforms. This is incredible. Wow, such a blessed run. With this event, what we can do is we can fire both of our advisors and get 200 power points in admin and diplo. This is insanely strong and a really great thing for us to do. So let's go ahead and get them both out of here. And look at that, we can already invest in another idea for infrastructure ideas. We'll go ahead and do that. And boom, we got Tenka Fubu idea, which means we have core creation cost decrease and province war score cost decrease. And because we have this idea already, that means conquering the rest of Japan is going to be much cheaper. We can go ahead and recall a diplomat and peace out with the Ouchi, sue for peace, and get our 7th show of strength. And it's only 1478. We could keep going with the show of strengths if we really wanted to, but this will be our last show of strength for this run because we want to unify Japan and begin that process rather quickly. So we'll go ahead and get this show of strength. We can go ahead and declare war on the Nambu. We'll co-belligerate the Chiba. It's not going to matter. We're going to win this war rather easily because we're ahead of tech and much more powerful. So let's go ahead and declare this war. Let's go ahead and sue for peace with the Nambu. Take it all. Doesn't really matter about the overextension or the aggressive expansion. Take all their income and send the demands. And look at that. The Oda have expanded quite a lot. And there we go, our truce with the Shiba has expired, so we can go ahead and declare war on the Shiba next. We can't co-belligerate the Imagawa, but that doesn't really matter. We could in fact maybe white peace them as well. So let's go ahead and declare war on the Shiba. And now we have 100% war score. Let's go ahead and recall a diplomat. Let's see what we could do with the Imagawa. If we white peace, what we could do is only have the truce for 5 years. So I think we're going to do that. We'll white peace them and then attack them immediately in 1488 to take more of their territory. So we'll go ahead and send a white peace for now. And there we go, another Japanese daimyo under the Oda yoke. And it looks like Ieyasu Oda did not live to see himself become the shogun, but that's alright. We now have Motoyasu Oda as the leader of the Oda clan. Alright, the House of Fushimi. Let's see. Oh, we got a 453 heir. We'll go ahead and name them Nobunaga. Oda. So they will become the successor to the Shogun of Japan. Our truce with the Imagawa is finished, so let's go ahead and get this war underway. We'll declare the war. They're allied to the Imago. Don't need to worry about that. Let's declare this war. And the siege of Suruga is over. Let's go ahead and finish off the Imago siege. May have to white peace the Imago, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll just white peace them. Again, we have to wait until 1493 to fight the Ouchi anyways, so let's just go ahead and white peace. And now fully annex all of the Imagawa territory, going to expand quite a lot, and of course take all of their ducats as well. Unlike Realm Divide in Shogun 2, whenever we get this powerful, there's no big coalition, luckily. Additionally, we can select another government reform, Tier 4. We're going to go with the interweaving of shrine and state. It's a very powerful government reform, and it allows us to get divine ideas. So we're going to select interweaving of shrine and state. And our truce is over with the Ouchi, so let's go ahead and go for the Sengoku CB and declare the war. And there we go, we fully occupied all of their lands, so we'll get the diplomat back. We can't take all of it, but we can probably take most of it. There we go. Gonna get a coalition, won't really matter. We're gonna go to war with the Yamada immediately after. We're at 72 overextension though, but that's fine. And now we can go ahead and declare this war against the Yamana. We'll of course co-belligerate both of them. And we also might as well go ahead and start our golden era. It is 1498, so the Age of Reformation should be starting soon, so let's go ahead and do that. And with that, we've occupied the islands. Let's go ahead and peace out So. Of course, it is Tsushima. And finally, we can peace out the Yamana, and there we go, full annexation, lots of ducats, lots of money, and boom. It is the year 1500, and now the moment has finally come for us to seize power and become the shogunate. So let's go ahead and declare war on the Ashikaga. We take a lot of negative stability effects, but gonna have to do this war anyways, war for the emperor, so we can take the capital Kyoto, so let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm gonna do is put our national focus into admin, so that way we can get our stability up as well. Siege of Kyoto is over. We got 100% war score, very easy war. Let's go ahead and peace out the Ashikaga, take Kyoto and Sagami. And there we have it. The fall of Kyoto, the Oda will be the leader of the new shogunate. All daimyos loyal to the shogunate will be transferred to the Oda. We are now the shogunate. Additionally, what we can do is we have a decision available, and that is to unite Japan. We can form Japan finally and get the new mission tree, get a bunch of power points, some legitimacy, as well as more samurai force limits, and thus the Oda will finally unify the nation of Japan. So let us go ahead and press that. And of course, we could go for the new traditions and ambitions and get the Japanese idea set, but we are going to not abandon our roots and keep the Oda ideas. Of course, we lose the shogunate government reform, which does suck. It is probably better than the government reform we're going to have, but we're going to get the supreme shogun government reform later. And with Japan finally unified, we can go ahead and look at the brand new Japanese mission tree with all these lovely missions. We had the 5 regent houses, the Namban trade, of course, the Imjin war, the mandates rule them all. We end the false emperor and we become hegemon of Asia. So that means we can take on Korea, take on the Ming, and seize the mandate of heaven and become the emperor of China ourselves. This mission tree also includes some of the strongest permanent modifiers in the game that I think make Japan one of, if not the strongest nation in EU4. So we have 3 missions that we're going to prioritize. That is balance the Shinokosho Edo Jidai. So of course this is the Edo period in Japanese history that we're going to usher in. And the next we have is Bushido. We have a new tier 1 reform that we can enact. We're going to select autocracy for that unjustified demands. We can go ahead and move over here and boost our stability. Again, we want positive stability to have global prosperity growing within our provinces. Additionally, we needed to complete the mission balance the Shinokosho. We need at least 2 stability, so let's go ahead and boost that. With other power points, we could go ahead of tech, but there's no need to because the institution of colonialism has spawned, so that means we need to spawn it in Japan. And a good province to spawn it in would be a province with farmlands that includes Musashi, Kyoto, or Setsu. We'll go ahead and choose Setsu. Let's go ahead and spend a few points here and just dev this up to 15 for now. We'll expand infrastructure later. Again, we're already at 9%. As we reach the cap of power points, go ahead and just start spending them here. Again, focus on production and manpower. You want to save those admin points for ideas and coring provinces and also boosting your stability and for future conquests as well. Additionally, we'll need to upgrade our navy in preparation for the Imjin War. As you can see, we do have claims on a lot of the Korean peninsula already. We got the Free Company once again to destroy some rebels because separatists are going to spawn. Now for the Bushido mission, we need at least 40,000 troops. We're obviously not going to pull from our own manpower once again because we need to avoid the Peasants' War disaster as soon as possible. We're likely going to hire another mercenary company so that way we can complete the Bushido mission. The reason for this is because our army tradition is at 67 currently, but it's rapidly decaying, and we need at least 60 army tradition in order to complete this mission, so may as well try to complete it as soon as possible to get the Book of the Five Rings event. And there we go, with that mercenary company hired, we can go ahead and complete the mission Bushido and get the Book of Five Rings event. So let's go ahead and do this. And the Book of Five Rings, of course, this is the famous book from Miyamoto Musashi, so we can either have that these teachings improve our land army, or that we discard them and focus on the sea instead. I think you know which option is better. We're going to, of course, improve our land army. That gives us army drill gain modifier, some yearly army tradition, and 10 army tradition as well. And we get it until the end of the game, which is very nice. We'll go ahead and do this. And with that mission completed, we can disband the Kanto Ronin. Let's go ahead and disband this mercenary company. We've got quite a lot of diplomatic power that we can use to dev up this province. Let's go ahead and expand infrastructure. Again, we're 66% of the way here, so let's go ahead and dev this up some more. Look at that, we're already at 94%. Lovely. Let's go ahead and spend a bit military power here. Again, quite expensive, but worth it because we need to spawn in colonialism. And one more for good measure. And there we go, colonialism is now in Japan. The institution has appeared in Setsu. Now we can go ahead and switch the edict for this state to advancement efforts. That way we get that institution spread. Another thing to keep in mind is that we have to lower the autonomy throughout all these provinces to get as much money, land force limit, and other bonuses from them. It could spawn some rebels, but most of them have very low levels of unrest, so it won't matter at all. So let's go ahead and just lower the autonomy where we can throughout all these places. And now we can go ahead and boost our stability to 2. And with that, we have a mission completed, and that is balance the Shinokosho. So let's go ahead and complete this. And there you go, we get no stability loss on monarch death, our estates are more loyal, and we lose national unrest. Now that we no longer have the Peasants' War looming over us as a disaster, we can go ahead and move our forces to strike against the Ainu and Hokkaido and seize Okinawa from Ryukyu. It also appears that colonialism has spread enough throughout Japan that we could embrace it for quite a lot of money, grab ourselves indebted to the merchant guilds, and now we can embrace colonialism, and it's only 1505. So let's go ahead and embrace this. Alright, let's begin by declaring war on the Ainu to seize Hokkaido. And we have a new shogun, Nobunaga Oda, has now become our ruler. It's also now time to declare war against Ryukyu for Okinawa, so let's go ahead and declare this war. We'll fight their navy right here. Hopefully we'll capture a few of their ships as well. Capture 2 of their ships, pretty nice, and we'll go ahead and transport the Free Company over to Okinawa to siege it down. And here we go, we got this battle here. That is a stack wipe, very easy. If Ryukyu is a tributary to the Ming, just diplo-vassalize them. In my case, of course, got very lucky, and we're going to conquer Okinawa directly. And the siege of Okinawa is over. We'll get our diplomat back here. Sue for peace. Of course, we'll take Okinawa, all their money. And we've occupied the Kyrills, which means we can go ahead and peace out the Ainu. Of course, we're going to fully annex all of their territory. And now that we lowered autonomy throughout all our states, we can go ahead and complete the mission Edo Jidai, ushering in the Edo period. And here we have the event, and we get some development cost reduction and global prosperity growth until 1532. Amazing. And we got a 254 for an heir. Not the greatest, but definitely I'll take it. We'll go ahead and name them Hideyoshi Oda. Why not? Of course, in reference to Toyotomi Hideyoshi, but this time it will be Hideyoshi Oda. Hideyoshi was the one who began the Imjin War, so how fitting that we got an heir at this time as we're preparing for it. With our preparations complete, we can go ahead and commence the Imjin War. So we'll go ahead and declare war on Korea. We'll set this as the war goal, and don't worry about Dav yet. They won't be a factor. Let's go ahead and declare. See if we can sink a lot of their ships. There we go, we won that naval battle, which is great. Another one of their navies down here that we can catch. Very nice. We'll go ahead and send an army over to siege this fort. Go ahead and barrage. Well, after a little bit, we finally took the fort. Go ahead and bring the other army over as well. And we got the event, the Tripitaka Koreana. So let's see, we have three options. Either bring it to Kyoto, burn it down, or spare it. Let's go ahead and bring it to Kyoto. We get monthly splendor, some religious harmonization speed, and institution growth. Why not? Let's bring it to Kyoto. And we can go ahead and get another government reform. This is tier 5, military doctrines and organization. This is new with the Domination DLC as well. We have quite a few options. Let's go ahead and get military engineering to reduce that artillery barrage cost because it is so useful. Of course, this will switch whenever we complete the mission, train the samurai. But for now, let's go ahead and get military engineering. And this might be the only battle of the Imjin War, so let's go ahead and get all our troops here and try to see if we can stack wipe the Korean army. Didn't get the stack wipe, but that's alright. We'll chase them down here. And there goes the full Korean army. A complete victory for the Japanese forces and the samurai in the Imjin War. Now at this point, we just need to peace out Daviet. They're only at military tech level 6, so this should be pretty easy. We'll go ahead and send an invasion force down here to besiege that fort. And look at that, we can go ahead and get Admin Tech 10. With Admin Tech 10, we can go ahead and select our third idea group. We could select another military idea because we are playing the militaristic version of Japan as the Oda. However, we're going to select a diplomatic idea, and the best idea for this playthrough will be court ideas. And the reason for that is we want that mandate growth modifier. Of course, we are seizing the mandate of heaven, and that's going to help us quite a bit. So we're going to select court ideas as our third idea group. And we can go ahead and just get these first two completed. In fact, we could even go with our first 3. We can also go ahead if we want and get military tech 10. Let's go ahead and do this. Better to be ahead militarily against all of the other Asian powers. Daviet does not want to fight us. They know they're going to lose. 78%, bruh. Even with offensive ideas, you just can't take forts, imagine. And we can white peace Daviet, which is nice. Maybe we can even take a little bit of money from them. There we go, 100 ducats, pretty nice. Got our diplomat back. Let's go ahead and sue for peace with Korea. And in terms of the provinces we're going to be taking, we want to try to take as much as we can and have a bit of access to some of Korea's neighbors. So we'll go ahead and of course take this island all along here, a few of the provinces up here. Again, for this mission, the Imjin War, we need 20 provinces of Korea, which is all of Korea, by the way. And we also need to have 5 provinces with forts. So we'll get the forts later. For now, we're just going to try to take at least 10 of the provinces, depending on overextension and things like that. Hopefully we can complete this mission with just 2 wars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 provinces of Korea, so half of Korea in 1 war. We could probably take a bit more. Only Korea is in a coalition against us. We only have 60% overextension. We just want to stay below 100, so we can maybe go ahead and take a few more places. We'll go ahead and send the demands. We've gained access to the mission, the Miyadaikyu method. We could complete it now, but completing it gives you a reward based off the level of isolationism that you're at. And our current level of isolationism is level 1 because we are going for adaptive with the idea cost reduction. So as of right now, it's not worth completing this because we only gain 10% trade efficiency and monthly diplomatic power. Instead, what we're going to do is wait until our isolationism is level 3 or 4, and then we can receive that sweet development cost reduction and goods produced modifier. I'm going to focus on completing this mission. We just need to have no loans, and this will enable us to spawn gold in Echigo. And that's why we got Echigo to at least 10 base production before we even spawn the gold. And we get the event the first geisha. Of course, geisha are very prominent in Shogun 2, and in this case for EU4 we get an advisor that's level 3 and 75% cheaper. Hell yeah, we're going to do this. Let's get this artist here. Get some more admin power as well. And we can go ahead and pay off our final estate loan. With this repaid, we have access to this mission. Let's go ahead and do this. And now Echigo gets gold. That's right, gold. You can see that it's producing gold. We're making 9.66 ducats from gold. That's the beauty of that mission and spawning gold in Echigo. Again, very important. Try to get that sooner than I did. We even got Gold Rush. Wow, 929 ducats. What an event. Levying additional taxes. Ooh, look at that. 11,000 manpower. Let's go ahead and take that. We can also go ahead and get indebted to the Merchant Guild once again, so that way we get some more loans. With all that income, we are going to upgrade the great project of Mount Fuji to level 1 in Kai. And the reason we're doing that is because the local development cost reduction of 10% will be very useful, because we purposely haven't developed Musashi since we need to spawn in printing press, and this is going to help us quite a bit because it's going to make the development cheaper, so that way we can spawn in printing press and we can go ahead and complete infrastructure ideas. And with that completed, we get development cost reduction. We also get some expanded administration cost and construction time decrease. And we've also gained access to our first policy available, that is the Mobile Siege Engines Act. That gives us 5% extra movement speed and artillery levels available versus forts +2. So we'll go ahead and do that for our first military policy. Alright, now we can go ahead and declare war on Jianzhou. We're at only military level 6. And they're a military level below us as well. Not much they can do against us in battles. They're actually running away and they have 6,000 more troops than us. That's crazy. Look at that. Look at this fight. Like 9,000 Japanese troops versus 28,000 of the hordes. We're winning. Of course we can get the reinforcements in here. And look at that. Absolutely crush them. That looks like it's going to be a pretty big fight right here. Maybe they won't even reinforce it. And there's a stack wipe. Too easy. Alright, time to test the might of the Japanese army. 23,000 versus 44,000. Nearly double. Let's see. Easily won the battle. Took a bit of casualties, but not a ton. Pretty good to fight these battles because we want more army tradition as well. And look at that stack wipe. Very nice. Alright, we can finally wipe peace Oirat. Let's go ahead and do that. Alright, we got 99% war score. So let's go ahead and peace them out. We'll sue for peace. Let's go ahead and grab a few of these provinces right here. So that way we gain access to China. Maybe we can go ahead and fight them later to gain access to the rest of Manchuria as well. Of course, what we're going to do is war reparations and all of their money. Go ahead and send this. Another thing we're going to do before we go to war against Korea once more is we are going to promote Korean culture, so that way we gain it as an accepted culture, and that will help us later when we complete this Imjin War mission. So let us go ahead and do this before we forget. Indebted to the merchant guilds as well. We got 2,800 ducats. We need to have even less inflation, so spending a little bit of admin here, but let's go ahead and reduce it again. And there we go. We can complete this mission, permit Ryogesho. Now that the Bushi estate has less than 3 privileges granted to it and their loyalty is below 50%, we can go ahead and complete this mission, the 5 regent houses. This mission has 2 reward outcomes. The first is that you have a powerful Bushi estate, and it's going to give you a bonus to where regencies spearheaded by the Bushi will function like a golden age and they gain 20 loyalty, whereas the other option is that we gain 20% crown land as well as 100 government reform progress if we go for a weak Bushi estate. I recommend you guys choose the weak Bushi estate because 20% crown land and 100 government reform progress is very nice, whereas the other reward is rather niche. Just for reference, we have 63% crown land. We also have 154 government reform progress, so that'll get us very close to getting our next reform passed, and we're going to get lots of crown land. So let's go ahead and complete this. You can see that our government reform progress went up there. And if we look at our estates, 83% crown land. You can see all these lovely bonuses, 70% reform progress growth, monthly autonomy change, decrease. Really awesome mission to complete. If you can complete it sooner, of course, go ahead and do that. I kind of held off just because I wanted a few more privileges for the Bushi. All right, we can go ahead and get our first Splendor ability. We, of course, are going with Religious Wars because we are of the Shinto faith, whereas the rest of the areas we want to conquer are mainly Confucian or Tengri. So that war score cost versus other religions will help us take a lot more territory per war. So we're going to select this. Our truce with Korea has ended, which means we can finish the Imjin War, and this time Japan will be victorious, unlike in history when Korea, along with the help from the Ming, were able to defeat Hideyoshi's forces. But that's the beauty of EU4, is that we can rewrite history. Let us finish the Imjin War. And there's the Korean fleet defeated. And let us go ahead and fight the Korean army here. We'll see if we can get some reinforcements in as well. And that is a stack wipe, completely defeating the Korean army, which makes this war an inevitable victory. With 2 forts siege down, we can finally peace out Daviet. Very annoying ally for Korea to have. Not going to take anything from them. We just need war reparations, all their money, and we're just going to break their alliance with Ayutthaya. So go ahead and send this demands. Alright, we got our diplomat back. Let's go ahead and peace out. We're going to fully annex all of the Korean provinces, take all of their money, and finish the Imjin War. Let's go ahead and send these demands. Again, coalition doesn't matter at all. And we are below 100% overextension, which is nice. So we'll do this peace deal. Now that we built 5 manufactories in provinces that produce grain, we can go ahead and complete the mission, survey the secret fields.
Welcome to the rice fields, motherfucker!
Now the last thing we need to do to complete the Imjin War mission is we need 5 total forts on the Korean Peninsula. We're currently at 4, so let's go ahead and build another fort. Doesn't really matter where we build it, we can go ahead and build it here. Now that we finished building that fort, we can go ahead and complete the mission, the Imjin War. This gives us 15 army tradition, as well as access to the Conquer China CB. And if we accepted Korean culture, we gain access to the Gyeongbokgun Palace, which is an amazing, great project for Japan. And of course, we did accept Korean culture. So let's go ahead and complete this mission. And you'll see here that we now have level 1, which means we get local development cost in Korea, as well as advisor cost and monthly autonomy change reduction. And we're definitely going to focus on upgrading this to level 3 as soon as possible. Now we can go ahead and get our 20th samurai unit, which is very nice because currently we have over 70 army tradition. And in order to train the samurai, we need at least 20 samurai, have a military idea group, at least 70 army tradition, and have reached level 5 in government reforms. With this samurai regiment recruited, we can go ahead and complete the mission, Train the Samurai. This, of course, is impacted based on how we selected with the Book of 5 Rings event. Of course, we chose for the land army reforms, which means we're able to have samurai regiments gain 10% more fire damage, insanely powerful until the rest of the game for us. Additionally, we get yearly army tradition, army drill gain modifier, and another 5% samurai force limit, meaning we can get more samurais. This is incredible for us to complete. So we're going to go ahead and train the samurai. It's time for the Oda Shogunate to go beyond Nobunaga's ambitions by seizing the Mandate of Heaven from the Ming and becoming the Emperor of China. So for this first war against the Ming, what we're going to do is use Take Mandate of Heaven CB. This CB gives us half the aggressive expansion impact as well as half the province war score cost, which coupled with the Oda ideas, we get another 10% decrease. And from the Splendor ability, we also get another 25% decrease. This means we're going to be able to take tons of provinces from the Ming in this first war. Don't be afraid to go above this 100% overextension. We can deal with the rebels now that we're built up. With that being said, let us go ahead and declare war on the Ming, and we can commence the Oda Shogunate's conquest of China. Going to start by marching toward Beijing. We got our fleets in position as well. The Iko-Iki incident. We do love us some Iko-Iki and Shogun too, but let's just say they didn't get along so well with the Oda. Still no sign of the Ming forces, even though we are both Tech 11, so it is rather surprising. Ooh, we got the event Silver found in Owami, which actually means gold is now produced in Owami. I think silver would make sense since we found silver, but I'll take the gold. Looks like we gained 3 base production there, so we only have 6 production and now it's producing gold. Let us go ahead and dev up a little bit, why don't we? And get this up to 10 base production so that way we can get some more gold. And they are running! Why are they running? No. They refuse to fight in the fields. And we can get military tech 12 if we want to. We'll go just a little bit ahead of time. Why not? I love these Japanese unit models because they remind me of the Matchlock Ashigaru with their Tanegashima and Jingasa. We're also going to upgrade the Kambokyung Palace to tier 2. We do have a mission later on called Strengthen the Bakuhan, which means we need the Sanken Kote palaces to be at tier 3. Why don't we go ahead and upgrade this as well, get this to at least tier 1. Cherry Blossom Festival. Ooh, look at that. 945 ducats. Yeah, look at that. 86% war score. I think this is a show superiority war, so we don't have as much of a ticking war score because they just refuse to fight us. Before we peace out with the Ming, we're going to complete the mission, Mandate to Rule Them All. We're able to complete this mission because we have at least 85 war score with the Ming. Currently, we're at 89. Additionally, if we complete this mission while crushing the Emperor of China, we gain the event Fate of the Mandate. The other option gives us some core creation province war score cost reductions. As the Oda Shogunate, we've been building up towards seizing the Mandate of Heaven from the Ming. So let us go ahead and complete this mission so that we can transform from the Oda Bakufu into the Oda Dynasty. Fate of the Mandate. Our country has always lived under the shadow of China. The Big Dragon has always considered itself to be the center of the world and rightful ruler of all its territory by the Mandate of Heaven itself. In the past, we have been forced to accept these preposterous claims, but the tiger has awakened, and it will obey the dragon no more. We're going to choose the option, it's mine, and mine alone. Japan becomes the Emperor of China. We also get Era of the Tranquil Sun until the end of the game, giving us some mandate growth modifier and max promoted cultures +2. So let's go ahead and become the Emperor. Let's see, we got some Unify China CBs. We also got the Forced Tributary State CB on a few places. And if we look at our government reforms here, we are a Celestial Empire. We gain 500 governing capacity. And well, look who's the Emperor of China, Nobunaga Oda. How fitting for this fool of a Wari to finally see his ambitions realized. And we start with 60 mandate already. We also have a steady amount of mandate growth, which is great. And we have a good amount of meritocracy to use, which is also growing. This is amazing because we have a lot of decrees that we can choose from. And we have a lot of celestial reforms. Of course, the Mandate of Heaven and Emperor of China has been reworked with this DLC, and these changes provide a lot of options for a very strong Chinese emperor, or in our case, a very strong Japanese emperor to assert their authority over the rest of Asia. So the first thing we're going to do is this peace deal with the Ming now that we are the emperor. I'd say this is a pretty fair peace deal, don't you guys think? We're going to, of course, take Canton. We need Beijing, and we have Nanjing. That will help with the mandate, and we took a ton of provinces. We are, of course, taking a ton of overextension, but that's not going to matter because we have tons of admin points saved up and we'll be able to core this all rather quickly. But go ahead and take this peace deal. We can take just 100 ducats from them. So let's go ahead and send these demands. I'm just baffled and shocked that I was able to take that many provinces from the Ming, along with the Mandate of Heaven, and never fight their troops in a single battle. EU4, why? As the Emperor of China, we need to pass a decree with our meritocracy, and we're going to expand palace bureaucracy. This is going to give us core creation cost minus 10%. Now that we have that, what we can go ahead and do, go to right here, and we're going to core all of them. That's so satisfying to see. Additionally, we have a new estate to deal with, which is the eunuchs. There are a lot of good options here. We'll go with the single whip law, and we'll go with prominent palace bureaucracy so we get some advisor cost reduction as well. Another benefit to becoming the Emperor of China as Japan is that alongside with our very powerful reworked Japanese mission tree, we've also gained access to the Chinese Emperor mission tree. So we have a lot more missions to complete that will help with rulership over China, along with furthering the mandate of heaven and allowing us to, of course, get some other insanely powerful modifiers. We're going to upgrade the Forbidden City. This is going to give us some mandate growth modifiers, so we'll go ahead and build that monument. The next monument we're going to upgrade is the Imperial City of Kyoto, because we get Liberty Desire reduction in our subjects, which will be good whenever we have lots of tributaries. And also at level 2, we get a Center of Trade in Kyoto, so we're going to upgrade this to level 1 for now. Once we take the Mandate of Heaven, we get a series of events related to the fall of the Ming, and we have a few options here. So we're just going to go with the 5 mandate. Our mandate is good now, and it is growing steadily, so let's just go ahead with 5 mandate and save our income. November 6th, let's see. And look at that, we're down to 46. Then what we're going to do is we need to accept 2 Chinese culture groups. Let's obviously go with Zili, Blue Shandong for now as the other cultures that we'll promote. And this disaster, Emperor of China in name, is no longer progressing, which is nice. So we have avoided that disaster. Look at that, look at the Ming imploding. So now we're going to be able to conquer more territory because we have this lovely CB, which is Unify China. We'll just use this and be able to conquer all that territory now. Alright, it's time for us to declare war on Oirats. We're going with the Unify China CB against them. So every occupied province in the Chinese subcontinent gains our territorial core while we are the war leader. And we get less aggressive expansion and cost for all the provinces in the Chinese subcontinent. These provinces right here, they actually own the Great Wall of China, Oirats, which is very bad if the Mongols own the Great Wall of China. We could force them to become a tributary state, but we're not going to do that just yet because we'll get a truce with them. And if we have a truce with them, then that means this disaster will not fire, so we just need to win this war. They do outnumber us with their allies, but it's not going to matter because we're higher military tech and we just have better quality troops, so let us go ahead and begin this war. Catch maybe some Oirat troops here as they're fleeing. Easily won. We got the event in ideology for our empire. With this event, we have to decide whether we want to make the Shogun the son of heaven and have Confucian become the new state religion of Japan, or if we stick with the Shinto faith. And for this run, we're going to become the Supreme Shogun after becoming the Emperor of China, so of course we're not going to dishonor the Shinto faith of our ancestors, and we're going to stick with the Shinto faith. So we're going to select this option. We lose 5 meritocracy, it's not the end of the world. We lose the stability, we can get the stability back. We have 3 stability now. We'll go ahead and not dishonor the Shinto faith. We'll take this in the peace deal. We'll do war reparations. Why not? Take all their money. Let's go ahead and peace out with this. We can also get more samurai infantry. Look at that. We can have up to 42 samurai infantry. Let's go ahead and get a lot more samurai infantry. Why not? Let's go ahead and declare this war. We'll co-belligerate them. Why not? We'll do the Unify China as well. With these next couple of wars being relatively easy, we can go ahead and pass the first celestial reform. And the first one we're going to choose is establish Linfan Yuan. It's going to give us that core creation cost reduction. And it's really going to hurt to pass because we lose 80 mandate and a stability, but we need to pass some of these celestial reforms. So let's go ahead and do this. It's awful. Really, really bad. But we're going to have to suffer through it. Again, our mandate will grow. We'll get above 50 again. Let's see how rough the mandate makes our troops. See, we're still doing just fine. We're going to win this battle, which is nice, so. And it looks like the Emperor of China and Shogun of Japan has passed, so now Hideyoshi Oda assumes the imperial throne and leads the Bakufu. Japan is going to own Taiwan. That's not going to cause any problems. So let's send the demands here. And we got our diplomat back, so let's go ahead and just eat up all of these provinces. No overextension, because we already have cores on all of it with the Conquer China CB, and we get all their money. And with that war, we now get Conquer South China. This is going to give us some trade efficiency and center of upgrade cost until the end of the game. Also get some local development cost, local goods produced, and gold depletion chance modifier in our gold province of Koyo. So what we need to do before we complete that mission is we need to dev this up a lot. We developed it to at least 10 production for the gold, and then what we're going to do is now complete the mission, conquer South China. And we get 20 mandate, which is nice because we'll get closer to being above 50 mandate again. And I forgot to mention, we gain a permanent claim for every province that is part of the Malacca trade node, which is the best trade node in all of Asia. And look at all those juicy claims on the Malaccan trade node. It's a very valuable node because of the spice trade, so that will be very useful for us as Japan to conquer those provinces with those permanent claims. Alright, for our next war, we're going to unify China against the UA, do the Unify China CB, and declare war again. They have no troops whatsoever, so this is a cakewalk. Since we have enough meritocracy and it's been 10 years, we can go ahead and enact another decree. I think what we'll go for is proclaim dynastic name. This is going to give us a bit more mandate growth modifier as well as some equilibrium with all of the estates. So we'll proclaim dynastic name. The other important thing to note is that it is 1555 and printing press did spawn, but what we need to do is we need to dev up a province to spawn it ourselves. So we are going to choose Musashi. We're at 30. We could expand infrastructure again, so we'll wait to get some more points back, but we're already at 69.96. That's quite the number right there. Take all of this territory. No coalition against us at all, so it doesn't matter. All right, we're gonna go ahead and annex all of UA's territories, take all their money, send the demands, and there we go. Declare war on Dali. We'll co-belligerate Sang since we do border them actually, and go ahead and declare the war. All right, now we're going to, of course, continue developing Musashi. We're at 91%, so let us go ahead and dev it up a few more times here. Once more. And look at that, we got printing press has appeared in Musashi, so that way we can wait for this institution to spread. And let's go ahead and peace out Dali. And look at that, 9 aggressive expansion. Kind of hilarious. Take all of their money. And now we have access to parts of Malaysia or Indochina and of course into Indonesia. So we'll start to establish tributaries and then conquer the Malaccan trade node. And our truce with the Ming has ended. It's time for our second war against the Ming. Hopefully we can fully annex them. We're of course going to use the Unify China CB. Now let's go ahead and declare this war and finish off the Ming. Fighting Jaunpur there. Easily won the battle. The samurai are just too good. 85% on that fort. Come on, that's so unlucky. Can we piece them out? Yes, we can. Let's take some of their money. 700 ducats, why not? Very nice. Alright, this is a full annexation of all the Ming's territory. We have some territory in the middle of Da Viet, which is fine. It'll give us a stepping stone into Indochina as well as into Malaysia or Indonesia and Southeast Asia, so that way we can control the Malaccan trade node and we get all the Chinese provinces. We'll go ahead and take all of their money. And the great thing about this peace deal is that it gives us barely any aggressive expansion, not like that matters anyways, and very little overextension, so let us go ahead and do this peace deal. And look at that name placement. Look at that, Japan. There we go. Let's go ahead and core all these up. Now that we're at peace and the Ming has been utterly defeated, we can go ahead and pass another celestial reform. I'm going to go with civil registration for that development cost and autonomy change cooldown because we're going to be deving up a lot of provinces along the Yellow River to tame China's sorrow. And the dev cost reduction is just going to be beneficial in Japan as well because we need to dev some places up there. So we're going to select civil registration. Now what we can do is we can end the false emperor. Completing this mission gives us some mandate along with every owned province with iron, and a manufacturer will gain reduction in development. So what we could do is look at the trade goods, for instance, right now and find all the places that have iron, and we could build a manufactory there to get that development. I'm not going to do that. Of course, you could min-max it if you really want to. There's no need though. We'll go ahead and do this. We get some regiment cost reduction as well. So let's end the false emperor. And we get some mandate back. So now we're back up to 46 mandate. And why don't we go ahead and complete the mission, encourage the Fudayashi. This gives us base tax development and some merchant guild loyalty whenever we dev up our tax in our provinces. We of course are going to use some admin power to do that. And with those things completed, we can go ahead and now declare war on the Liang. Of course, they're allied to the Shu, so we'll just co-belligerate them. We're going to use Unify China and declare the war. Alright, and with that, we have just one tiny province we need to take in order to become Hegemon of all Asia. It's owned by Karadel, and ironically enough, Karadel is allied to Oirat and Kham, so of course we're going to unify China against them. And it's nice because we do need to fight Oirat anyways for this unguarded nomadic frontier. And let us go ahead and declare the war against Karadel, so that way we can of course become Hegemon of Asia. We just need one province from them. It's going to be a relatively quick war, so let's go ahead and declare this war. And also go ahead and enact another decree with our meritocracy. We'll do proclaim dynastic name, so let's get that mandate growth modifier. Oh, it looks like we can embrace the institutions, so finally let's go ahead and get indebted to the merchant guilds. Been saving it for this moment. Look at that, 7,100 ducats. Let's go ahead and embrace the printing press in Japan. Lovely, and we can go ahead and upgrade our tech. And look at that, we have 80 innovativeness. We're still ahead of tech. We can get admin tech 14 though. And we got a Yellow River flood right as we got admin tech 14. That is a yikes. A true catastrophe, yeah. So these events are going to fire, of course, if you're the Emperor of China, and when we don't tame China's sorrow. So that's going to be something we focus on next. Unfortunately, we lose some mandate and lose some stability. In terms of our next idea, there's a lot of options to choose from. We could go with another military idea, but our religious unity is suffering quite a bit. And since we're sticking with Shintoism, we are going to choose religious ideas. It has a lot of good policies, a good policy with offensive for that religious unity and missionary strength versus heretics. Additionally, it has good policies with some other ideas that we're probably going to choose later on down the line. So we're going to choose religious ideas as the fourth idea. Territory like that, we'll do the peace deal, war reparations, and we're going to make them end their alliance with Kham as well, and we'll make them transfer trade power to us. It is 1567, we've seized the Mandate of Heaven, claimed it for ourselves, and made Japan the strongest power in Asia. And now we can finally complete this mission, Hegemon of Asia. This is going to give us Masters of the Dragon Throne until the end of the game, which gives us manpower and accepted culture provinces plus 20%. And we get the Covert Diplomatic Action, Fabricate Tributary Claim. And we also get Divine Aspirations until the end of the game, which gives us Yearly Meritocracy and Monarch Power Tribute from tributary states, which will be very nice whenever we get some more tributaries. So let us now make Japan the Hegemon of Asia. I really enjoyed playing Japan in this new patch. I think the improvements to the mission tree, along with some new introduced mechanics, make the gameplay experience much better. That being said, my biggest issue with this patch is that the developers didn't put enough emphasis and focus on the Sengoku Jidai and with all these starting daimyos. I think there's a lot of potential there, and I would love to see a more difficult path towards Japanese unification. I hope you all enjoyed this first part of the playthrough as Japan. Of course, I'm going to continue this playthrough where we expand some more, get some tributaries, become the Supreme Shogun. I also do apologize for not uploading content for quite some time. I have plenty of Shogun 2 videos on the way, as well as more EU4 content. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and take care.